Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. Today, we are absolutely plunging headfirst into, well, the seismic shifts that have completely reshaped the World Rugby Rankings. All thanks to those electrifying opening matches of the Rugby Championship. It's been quite the start.
Oh, absolutely. An incredible start. And our mission here today, really, is to pull out the most important bits of knowledge, the key insights from these latest updates.
Very.
We want to help you understand not just what happened, on the scoreboard and in the rankings, but crucially, why it matters, why it's significant for, well, the whole global rugby picture.
Kind of a shortcut to getting up to speed.
Exactly. Your shortcut to being really well informed on all the twists and turns.
And look, to make sure you don't miss any of this, because things change fast in this sport, right?
Yeah.
Be sure to subscribe to Rugby Obsession. You can do that wherever you get your podcasts. We bring you that continuous, in-depth analysis, plus those surprising facts that honestly keep you ahead of the game. Okay then, let's unpack this. Because these opening Rugby Championship results, wow, they've had a massive immediate impact on the World Rugby Rankings.
Huge.
The movement right out of the gate has been, well, pretty astonishing. What's the absolute biggest headline for you after this weekend?
Well, I think it has to be the top spot. The South African Springboks,
Mm-hmm.
they've relinquished their hold on number one.
Yeah, that's big news.
It is. After that 38-22 defeat to the Wallabies in Johannesburg, they've actually dropped down to third position. Third. And this is, well, it's pretty monumental. It marks the first time since they won the Rugby World Cup back in 2023 in France that they haven't occupied that top spot.
Wow. So that's a real shockwave then for the defending champs.
It's definitely a shockwave.
And surging into that number one spot, none other than the New Zealand All Blacks.
That's right.
Their pretty impressive 41-24 win over Argentina down in Córdoba just catapulted them straight to first. What did they do so well in that match? I mean, to get back to the summit for the first time since, what, November 2021?
Yeah, November 21. Look, their performance against Argentina was just clinical. It was a masterclass at execution.
Mm-hmm.
They played with incredible pace, incredible precision. They seemed to capitalize on almost every single opportunity they got. Their forwards really dominated the set piece, which gave them that crucial platform.
Right, the stability.
Exactly. And then their backs were just running these sharp, incisive lines that led to, well, a whole flurry of tries. That 41-24 scoreline, especially playing away from home, it really speaks volumes about where they are right now.
They looked hungry.
They looked absolutely determined to get back to the top, and, well, they delivered. Simple as that.
Now, what's really fascinating in all this movement is Ireland's quiet climb.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
They weren't even playing this weekend. Yet somehow they've managed to leapfrog the Springboks, moving from third up to second. How does that even work?
Well, it perfectly shows how dynamic and maybe how complex the World Rugby Ranking system actually is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about whether you win or lose.
Mm-hmm.
It factors in who you play, where you play them, the score margin, lots of things. So when a top-ranked team like South Africa loses points, especially losing at home to a lower-ranked team like Australia,
They shed quite a few points then.
they shed a significant number of points. And those points don't just vanish. They're effectively, redistributed in the calculations. So even though Ireland was inactive, the Springboks losing weakened South Africa's relative standing compared to Ireland.
So Ireland's sort of gained ground by default.
Pretty much, without lifting a finger on the pitch. For Ireland, it's obviously a nice boost, maybe helps with future seedings, but it really highlights how interconnected these global rankings are.
And speaking of that Springboks loss, it wasn't just any old defeat, was it? Losing at home to the Wallabies. That hasn't happened in, what, 12 years?
It's 12 years. That stat alone tells you it was a huge upset.
But it gets even more incredible when you dig a bit deeper.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because connecting this to the sort of bigger historical picture, Australia's victory, it marked their first win in Johannesburg. We're talking specifically Ellis Park here since 1963.
1963? Seriously?
Seriously, just think about that. 62 years. For a team like the Wallabies, who, let's be honest, struggled a bit with consistency lately, to break a drought that long at a place like Ellis Park against the current world champions, that's not just a win, that's a massive psychological boost.
Yeah, you called their performance a remarkable comeback. 6 tries against the Bulls.
6 tries. They showed incredible resilience, particularly after falling behind early. They really turned it around with some smart tactics, and honestly, just sheer determination.
So, okay, Wallabies break a 62-year Ellis Park hoodoo, score 6 tries, win convincingly. Yet they only gain 3 ranking points. And they're still 6th.
They're still 6th, yeah. But, and this is important.
Go on.
That win, those 3 points, they've significantly narrowed the gap on France, who are 4th, and England in 5th. They're right there now, breathing down their necks.
So it puts them right back in the mix at the top end.
Definitely. It injects a huge amount of confidence, especially with their new coaching setup. It proves they can perform under that kind of intense pressure against the absolute best. It's more than just points. It's belief. It could honestly be a turning point for them this season. And, moving beyond those top few spots, the ripples from this opening weekend, they spread further down. Think about Argentina.
Right, Los Pumas. Tough loss at home to the All Blacks.
Tough loss, yeah. And they're still holding on to 7th place in the rankings. But that gap between them and 8th place Scotland, it's shrunk dramatically.
How much?
Before the weekend, they had a 0.48-point cushion over Scotland. Now, it's just 0.03 points.
Wow, that is razor thin.
It is. It just shows how incredibly tight that middle section of the rankings is.
So immense pressure on Argentina now then. Every game counts.
Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Every single match. They really can't afford another slip-up if they want to keep Scotland behind them and solidify that top 7 spot.
And just to complete the picture, the other teams rounding out the current top 10, Fiji and Italy, right?
That's right, Fiji and Italy. And their presence there in that top 10, I think it's a fantastic sign for the sport globally.
How so?
Well, it shows the growing reach and competitiveness outside the sort of traditional powerhouses. Fiji, we know their flair, their athleticism. They're consistently challenging now in 15s, not just 7s.
Yeah.
And Italy, too, they've been steadily improving, showing real development. It just makes the whole world rugby landscape more exciting, more unpredictable when you have teams like that pushing into the top 10. It's great to see.
So if we just quickly look at the actual Rugby Championship table after round 1, both New Zealand and Australia got those crucial bonus point victories. Right, the 5-pointers.
Exactly, 5 points each. For anyone newer to this, you usually get a bonus point for scoring 4 or more tries, or sometimes for losing by 7 points or fewer. So the All Blacks and Wallabies both maxed out.
But the All Blacks are top.
Just barely. They hold a slender lead purely because of a better points difference, basically. They scored more points relative to what they conceded compared to Australia. It's often a key tiebreaker.
Got it. And that leaves South Africa and Argentina.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, they're sitting in 3rd and 4th, respectively, with 0 points on the board so far.
0 points. Ouch. Okay, so looking ahead to round 2 next weekend, massive games coming up. Springboks host the Wallabies in Cape Town. You've got to think they'll be breathing fire for that one.
Oh, absolutely. Seeking revenge.
And Los Pumas host the All Blacks again, this time in Buenos Aires. These feel like absolutely crucial matches, especially for the teams without points.
Yeah.
What are you expecting tactically?
Well, they're going to be explosive, aren't they? For South Africa, it's redemption time. Home turf in Cape Town, they'll want to reassert that physical dominance. I expect a huge effort from their forwards, focusing on the set piece to try and bully the Wallabies.
And can Australia handle that after the high of Ellis Park?
That's the question. They need to prove Joburg wasn't a one-off. They'll need to absorb that expected onslaught and then try to find ways to unleash their backs again. It's a classic clash of styles, potentially.
And in Buenos Aires?
Les Pumas will be absolutely desperate. Playing at home, needing points. They have to match the All Blacks' intensity, which is always tough. And crucially, they need discipline. That let them down a bit last week.
And the All Blacks just keep rolling.
Pretty much. Consolidate their top spot, maintain that ruthless efficiency they showed in Córdoba. Look, both these games are huge, not just for the table, but for momentum, for psychology. Massive opportunities for the Boks and Pumas to get back into this championship.
Absolutely. And hey, don't forget, if you want to stay right on top of every twist, every turn in this championship, make sure you are subscribed to Rugby Obsession. We'll keep you plugged into all the action and the stories behind the scores. But what stands out most to you from these first results? Which team surprised you? What are your predictions for round 2? We'd genuinely love to hear what you think.
Yeah, definitely. So just to wrap up our thoughts for today, these opening games, they've immediately shaken up the whole global rugby picture. It really highlights just how intense the competition is, how unpredictable things can be right at the very top. It proves again that every single match counts in those World Rugby Rankings. The consequences just ripple outwards. The margins are so fine at this elite level.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? So what does this all mean for the rest of the championship and even beyond? How quickly can a team like South Africa bounce back from a drop like that? And what actually defines being dominant when the rankings can shift so fast?
Good questions.